Anytime this week, Josh. When you ready, mate? Fucking hell.
What do you mean? I'm ready to go.
Kind of us all back.
I'm ready to do it.
Everywhere.
I don't know what you guys are waiting on.
Sick of being so uncomfortable in my own
Wait,
skin.
like, have we just started recording? Are you waiting for me
Mate,
to do an
you've-
intro or something?
You're preaching to the choir here.
Like, I did my research
Cry.
in the week earlier.
What's the hardest part about being fat? Showering in the dark.
Tell me you recorded that.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Episode.
Harvey, you little dog.
What's he doing?
Fucking.
Playing Halo. I've been
Just
doing
a
it
second.
pretty well
I'm
this whole
nearly
time.
ready.
No, I said I was ready the entire time. I was just waiting for you guys.
All we're gonna hear is
You
your
do one
voice.
thing for the podcast. Seriously, you buy one fucking microphone,
What?
and all of a sudden,
Oh,
the
yeah.
rest of the
think you
beds.
could just.
My Caribbean
Yeah,
is
that's
still on
true.
this chair.
And you do supply the place to go, and the insulation.
Look at that.
You're listening to Way Off Central.
All right. This week,
Nah.
It kind of would be good if
it'd
we
be
had
good
that.
if we could do that every week.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Let's take on all these like crime podcasts that are on the Titancast. Let's just fuck them off. Way Off Central.
Where
does
the new-
crime.
I didn't realise
Way Off
Nick.
Central Vice.
I didn't realise Nick was It Could Be Worse podcast. That's his podcast.
What?
Oh shit! He's the Titancast dude.
Yeah.
Who is?
Nick.
Because I seen
Who is
that
Nick?
The Titancast dude.
Because I seen his I seen like a Titancast story and saw the
setup?
Worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Setup, and then I was like, oh, I wonder what he's doing.
Wait,
There. They must be like
Even
close or
worse than
something.
ours, or like?
Oh my god.
No.
The name
is-
of the podcast is It Could
You
Be Worse
fucking
podcast.
idiot, Joe. I swear you were not involved at all.
But Nick, if you're listening, it is shitter than ours.
Okay, real talk. Have you listened to it?
No.
No, but and I feel like I have to now that I know that it's his.
Yeah. But he also has like an Instagram for gaming where he just streams, which is pretty sick. Watched a few clips. I liked it. And then a music account.
Do they have good following bases at all? No.
No.
Oh.
But his music one has like 900 followers.
Why doesn't he use that?
I
to
think that's
promote
his private
Titancast?
though. Well, I think he might. I don't know.
Fuck.
Well, he fucking should. He's supposed to be the ringleader here.
Mm.
Mate, you're fucking at the back of the pack.
Nick, mate, if you're listening, we're coming over. We're gonna run the show because this is shit. I wanted to before we get into the actual content.
Well,
I thought we'd maybe. Are you?
Stop playing.
sorry guys, I can't help. It's good.
You know, it only feels like yesterday they looked at you and you had your hair back, actually.
Really?
Yeah. Reminiscent of a time.
All right. How do you think you'd go being a conjoined twin? Okay, let's say like no, a conjoined twin. I know Joel is a twin, but I seen them pop up on the fucking I don't know 60 Minutes or some shit the other night. I thought, imagine you're a conjoined twin. Your twin's gay and you share an asshole. Like,
Harbour, speak.
Yeah, am I coming through right?
Yeah.
I feel like Aiden's not,
Your blue light's not on.
isn't it? Oh.
It's amazing.
tap,
Everything's
tap your
fine.
mic.
Everything's on. But
Oh, that'll
Ah.
do it. Yeah,
but it was still working.
That would be, yeah, it was still working.
that's
Brilliant.
good.
We
I
can
was thinking
podcast
that
in
you
the
were
dark
coming through
now.
a little bit quiet.
Nah, Aiden's good.
You reckon?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah?
I feel like I'm quiet in my own ear, but maybe
Alright,
that's
turn
just
him up.
compared to you.
Turn him up. Just
No,
a touch.
no,
I
think
like
you're
me being
quiet.
quieter now. Anyway, okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, here come the note.
Okay, you're a conjoined twin. Your twin's gay and you share an asshole.
Oh no.
Like that'd suck. Like,
It's just going to be easier. This might be the one thing where girls would have it easier. I feel like being female and conjoined twins would be easier because everybody wants to fuck two girls at once. Not everybody wants to fuck two guys.
I don't know if that's how it works, but
No,
and
that's
it depends.
exactly
Like, where are
how
you
it works.
conjoined? Like, would you okay, you have to pick a body part to be conjoined at.
Do you have to exclusively have sex with other conjoined people?
No.
What a weird fucking question.
Well, I mean,
How rare? What?
would that not make sense?
Chance in a million.
Exactly.
Have you ever had?
This is a birth defect. You don't want it happening more than once, so you isolate the issue.
Have you ever had sex? I've only had foursomes. Fucking sucks.
Exactly.
What a weird brag.
Imagine if you're attracted to the fucking conjoined twin diagonal across from it. You could only do 69.
Fuck, you go into weird double dates.
Depends on how you joined. Like if you joined at the hip, it's one thing. But
Hip's
join
got to
it-
be the easiest.
Oh, no. Join at the foot.
yeah,
Yeah,
That's
right.
a pretty easy surgery, surely.
At the wrist.
at that point,
Join
you
at the
just,
head would suck.
yeah.
Oh, fucking awful.
Or
Share-
even if
share
you
a
just had
brain.
one head off
The side.
the side.
Off the shoulder.
And then, like, what happens? Do you compete for, like, body movement and shit? I don't feel like wanking tonight. Too bad.
It's like that episode of
Yeah.
Futurama.
It's like that. What did I say about playing Siamese twins?
Yeah. And then,
Sorry. Real quick before we get into it again, we're drinking VBs today, and I just thought to myself, we had a beer the first time because we were taking the piss out of two drunk mums. Do you reckon they've listened to our podcast and go, these fuckers have just taken everything that we had special to us and
no,
Except
'cause
we're not mums.
they're also
selling out live shows,
and like followers and
Yeah.
try, but
and
you
they
know,
got a free mic.
you get yeah,
Thanks.
the rich helping the
Listeners.
rich. That's the fucking little show of what the world is today, isn't it?
That's capitalism.
That is capitalism. But actually, real question. I know they don't listen to this, but if you do, two drunk mums, are you guys loaded? Like, are you guys self-made, rich hubbies? What's the go? Like, I just want to know. I assume you're loaded, and I assume that you live in Texas, where you have like probably big houses.
I
That's
can't
just how
see
we
them
picture
not
it.
having big houses. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure one's a dentist, but I feel like their husbands are also in something like oil or
Yeah.
land,
Probably
Something
wear like
lucrative.
cowboy hats or own some sort of rib house.
shooting homosexuals in the backyard.
Indian casino.
That's
I
what
don't care.
Texans
Let's
do.
fucking post it. I don't care now. Like, if people aren't listening, I'll say what I want.
At this point, we haven't been kicked off the Titan cast yet, so
I'm a tall black man.
we're obviously not going far enough.
I actually identify as Aboriginal.
They're both attractive as well.
Are they?
Yeah.
I don't know if I think I've maybe watched like a little clip of theirs on Instagram.
I think
and
one of them
seen-
has like 5 kids or something. Like a fair bit of kids.
Wow.
And the other one has like 2.
They both look in like good nick for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, good on them.
I'm now looking them up.
Like surely they have like a nanny or something because they don't look tired.
I assume they drive like big pickup trucks, but those like American, like not the old rusty ones.
It'd,
Like
no, it'd have to
Infinities.
be like
Infinity SUVs.
yeah, it'd have to be like a classic soccer mum car.
yeah, but like with all the perks and upgrades.
Oh yeah, like leather seats and whatnot. But
All right, let's should we dive in?
Yeah, what are we talking about today?
Well,
Let's go over our 3 topics. What are they?
okay, so we have: do fairy tales affect children's perception of reality? We have
Yeah.
we have
and
we have video games and violent crime, and we have children becoming more dependent on electronics. So, to avoid any creepiness, we're going to say young people is the title of this week's podcast. And thank you again to Miss Casey Olsen, who, like Joel stated last week, ever since you gave us these topics, ratings have gone well and truly downtown.
But it is heaps easier on us and we don't give a fuck. So here we are.
this is the educational part of the the podcast.
So to jump into the first topic of do fairy tales affect children's perception of reality, I was just Googling some fairy tales and let me find it. It was I came across the true stories behind classic fairy tales, and I didn't realise Snow White, the dwarves are actually kids that worked in a copper mine and were severely deformed because of the physical labour mining required.
That's fucking dark. See, that's a powerful message.
It's a bit dirty.
Like most fictional stories, that being, look. Here's the thing: we've told fictional stories since the beginning of the time. The Bible, prime example.
And he,
Well, hey, come on.
Beginning of sorry, no, but even then, like think about hieroglyphics and the Egyptians and shit. Bullshit, that stuff happened. Fuck off. They were just taking the piss.
it's a fucking
Bird,
looking cool.
rope, camel, tree.
That's a jackpot.
Yeah, that's a feature at least.
Ah, you've missed the king. You need to get in there.
This next one is Hansel and Gretel, and it says here the tale of Hansel and Gretel could have been told to keep children from wandering off, and it came about like 1315 and to 1370 when the Great Famine happened. And I read this little bit. It says, where is it? In the 1600s, she concocted such a scrumptious gingerbread cookie that a jealous male baker accused her of being a witch. After being driven from her town, a posse of angry neighbours hunted her down, brought her back to her home, and burned her to death in her own oven.
Just sounds like another day in Papua New Guinea, doesn't it?
Ooh.
Yeah, or really any like
No, and
medieval.
okay, don't mean that to be a
medieval
dig,
Europe.
but I've seen like a documentary, and I know this is going off topic a little bit, but if you get accused of being a witch in Papua New Guinea, they do some fucking awful things.
Yeah, there are actually pretty
Like
some pretty
not
bad
all,
cases
not
there.
all of the whole country, but
I just want to get my thoughts of, like, does it affect their perception on reality? I think it does, but in a good way, because if you look at, like, the meaning behind the stories, like Little Red Riding Hood teaches them about stranger danger, like, affects them in a good way. Santa, not really a fairy tale, but fictional, like, says be good and do good and you'll be rewarded.
yeah,
Like, it just pretty much teaches morals and ethics and fucking basic human
yeah. I think
behaviour.
I think it's
Beauty and the Beast. Beauty isn't just skin deep.
yeah. So
Fucking helps if you're attractive, though. Let me
not
tell you.
not that I'd know.
Yeah,
but-
we've had a rough life.
We are not successful, and it's because of our Instagram photos. Go and have a look. You'll work it out well quick.
I totally agree. I think it's just like fairy tales are just sort of. I mean, everybody knows this. This is pretty basic, but they're just sort of like a teaser trailer for what's coming a little later in life, right?
I don't remember a fairy tale about being raped by my uncle.
No, but you remember Little Red Riding Hood, which taught you to be wary of strangers like wolves.
Yeah, you're right.
Your uncle is a wolf.
I just
He-
didn't infer
He
that.
will eat your grandmother.
Maybe I was too young when I read it.
I mean, you could say, here's my take on this though. You could say the exact same shit about television, movies, any other story.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
that's
that's exactly right.
difference, really. Like, as long as there is fiction, there will be messages. There will be things warping fucking people's like.
But like, I don't necessarily think this question is saying that fairy tales shouldn't be told. I think it's just a. Well, I mean, I'm not entirely sure what the question is asking from
Is it like
Miss Olsen, but
does it build an unrealistic standard of life? Or?
well, yeah. So in some cases, if you are looking at things superficially, in terms of things like Cinderella and I don't know, a couple of the others, not quite Beauty and the Beast, but Cinderella, Snow White, the really classic ones, then there is a little bit of that, only beautiful people will succeed and that sort of thing. But it's one of those things where a fairy tale will teach not only children but people, some of the fundamental things and shape some of the fundamental, responses to how society works. But you can't solely rely on, a fairy tale to teach the child everything. You'll get like you look at things like The Lion King, where the two lion cubs are told not to go into the elephant graveyard, but they do it anyway because fuck it, why not? And like it's the simple causality.
Just me making noise. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I thought you were questioning my elephant graveyard thing. Anyway, yeah, it's just a simple and almost dehumanized or desensitized way of showing, what will happen or the negative consequences of say not listening to your parents or not being kind or that sort of thing.
It's just such a simple tool. Like, kids aren't gonna exactly respond to, hey, remember, don't do this, don't do that. But if you show them a story and go, oh, look what happened, like,
Exactly.
it sticks with them, and it sticks with all of us. That's why we remember fairy tales. Like,
But-
that's how it works.
Is that what they take away from it though? Like us being older now, we can like decipher the fairy tales and get down to the true meaning. But if you're like a 5-year-old boy sitting there listening to, I don't know, Rapunzel, does it only make you think, fuck, I could like swing from my hair?
Yeah, look, you're probably
To some
right. Yeah.
to some degree, yeah, that's entirely true. But the fact is, you still, even if you're not necessarily actively thinking, oh, I shouldn't lie because that ends badly, you still, just through the imagery and the connotations that the fairy tale provides, you still get that negative, thought pattern based on them telling a lie or, doing the wrong thing.
I reckon the most effective one, at least for mine, is going to be The Boy Who Cried Wolf. Like, because got it told to me, then, like, it just gives you... It's a tool. Maybe the kids go, oh, sick, can swing from my hair, if they just see that alone. But it means that a teacher or a parent or a guardian or whoever can then draw the comparison for the child quite easily, and then they go, oh, shit, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's also a good base upon which children can build other stories.
Yeah.
Like, if you've got a fairy tale, that sets a scene where then a child can, just imagine further into that, that universe. I think a lot of people struggle to create their own, their own universe with their own set of rules and whatnot. But if you give a child a set of rules, a set of characters and whatnot, they can then imagine different scenarios based on those limitations that are set.
Yeah, nice little base for them.
I think it also inspires like a little bit of hope. And some people might argue that it's an unrealistic.
Captain America, fuck. Nah.
No, like you look at it, all the fairy tales, or most of them at least, tend to have a happy ending. And like,
Boy Who Cried Wolf didn't.
all right, maybe not The Boy Who Cried Wolf, but like you look at most of the children's movies and that sort of thing, they seem to have a happy ending at least. And your skeptics will argue that it sets kids up for failure because they think, oh, well, it'll all go alright in the end. But I think you need to have that mindset.
I have that mindset now.
Exactly.
Fucking oath. But I don't remember a happy ending to Fox and the Hound. I just remember crying profusely.
I think it's hard too, because I feel like some fairy tales don't have happy endings, but you can't exactly put that on the big screen because of the sensitivities around actually visualizing and depicting something, especially for kids.
I got a question for you. What would happen if you... I mean, obviously it's a thought experiment, but what would happen if you pretty well just raised a child solely on like fairy tales? Instead of taking them out of that environment and then showing them examples in the real world of how these stories work.
What you mean, just told them fairy tales to the age of 10 and then cut them loose?
Well, like you...
What's
I mean,
that
obviously
movie?
it's hard in practice, but like you raise the kid by just having these stories played on repeat, that sort of thing, and letting them work it out for themselves.
Probably an oversensitive child. Like, that would probably warp them. Like, you'd probably go... They'd probably come out and go, where the fuck are me dwarves?
Is it Bewitched or something? That movie where the girl comes straight out of the fairy tale and she's a princess and lands in like Manhattan or something. And she just walks around and like she's thinking everything's so nice and shit, and then she gets like drenched by a car driving through a puddle and like falls into a manhole. And
It does
It's not
sound
I
familiar,
Dream
but
of Genie, is it?
No.
No, definitely not.
but I feel like it'd be like that. Like they'd just be skipping everywhere and shit, and then
Yeah, they wouldn't
Life and
quite
shit.
realise.
hit by a car or something. Like
Yeah. I think it just tries to keep things happy for kids.
it'd be like them videos of the people nursing the birds back to health and letting them go, and then like a fucking bigger bird comes and eats it, or a
Just
cat,
eats it straight away.
or fucking throw it out into the road and the truck hits it. It'd be like that.
Or it just gets bashed by,
Or
by
just
the
get
trash
bashed by a
bin.
few scaffolders. Fucking grubs. That's still the funniest story I've heard. I reckon.
Oh, without a doubt.
Alright. Video games and violent crime.
Are they directly correlated? I think so. I think all video games should be G-rated, and there would be no more school shootings, and no more violence, no
'Cause
more
people-
domestic violence.
Because it takes out the anger, it means all guns would disappear, it would mean that
Everybody actually just plays numbers up 24/7. That's
Yeah.
it. That's the only game.
heads down, thumbs up.
Minecraft creative mode, no spawning monsters.
We also have to get rid of Monopoly because that's capitalism.
Yeah,
don't,
that's
don't
right.
want
You're
that.
teaching kids to be competitive, you can't have that.
We're making our own crosswords here.
I'm pretty sure that there was, around the same time as video games, a massive decrease in crime, like in the 90s. That, now, don't get me wrong, Freakonomics and some economists showed that that was actually caused by the legalization of abortion in the 70s. It led, because there was this massive increase in crime through the 70s and 80s, but at the end of the 60s they legalized abortion, and they showed that that led to like a massive decrease in crime in the 90s, because all these kids that would have been born in sort of, I guess, unwanted, for lack of a better word, who would have committed all these crimes then didn't. Interesting shit, but still, like, no one ever blames fucking Pac-Man for violence.
Yeah, no. I'm pretty sure that's the argument against.
I mean, there's always been movies, like, what's the...
Yeah, see, that's a big thing.
Besides you
Everybody's like,
controlling
oh
it, I
yeah,
guess, like...
you know, games and whatnot. You know,
What
you know
about when
what?
there was actual war? Like, oh, okay, obviously there's still actual war, but...
You know what I hate now?
Full-blown World War.
People sharing shit on
We actually
Facebook
see.
going like, oh, like, this was a real era where men went off to war to fight for their queen and country. And no questions asked, just went. Like, those were real men.
Who
And
do
I'm
you
like,
who do you follow?
yeah, like,
I don't see anyone. saying
No,
that.
I did see that exact photo.
yeah.
Really?
It's fucking ridiculous. A real
Fuck the
men,
Queen.
real era. Fuck off.
I can agree in like in the regard that like people just
Yeah, they just, it
seemed tougher, like that they just handled situations as opposed to
wasn't any ifs or buts. You just went and did what you had to do.
Exactly.
Same people also causing climate change. Like,
Yeah.
might
Oh, don't
be
get me
tougher,
wrong. I'm not
definitely
saying
fucking dumber. Like,
yeah, well, yeah, for the people in charge at least, yes, without a doubt.
Like, it's a new era. Like, fuck. Leave it be.
if you're so tough, adapt with the times, or
Yeah.
you're going to get left behind.
Put it to bed, yeah. It's fucking
Well,
over
yeah.
now.
See, that's a hard thing with toughness, and you know,
Look, this is getting into children becoming dependent on electronics, which I have a little rant about. But video games and violent crime, I just think it's such a cop out.
Yeah,
It's
it's
such a
it's an
cop-out.
excuse, really.
Like, it's got to be led by the states, especially in the way that, you know, they won't lose as much money from banning video games as they will from banning guns. So let's blame video games first.
what I don't get right when you look at most video games that you play, more often than not, and this is pretty much all the time, you play as the protagonist. You still play, like even though
With
you're
the exception of like some shit like GTA, I guess.
yeah, there's the odd occasional thing like Grand Theft Auto and that sort of thing, but yeah, for the majority, you play as the protagonist who actually sort of, you know, fights for justice and fights for the righteous and good and innocent people.
I 100% get what you're saying, but you got to realize that, especially in like the, look, I always view this in the context of mass shootings in the States. These people are the protagonist in their own head. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, you're right.
They're shooting up the people that bullied them, so in their head they're the bad guys. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that's true. But like even then, the message is still the same. You know, fight for the innocent, fight for the righteous, fight for the good, as opposed to, you know, go out and granted, Grand Theft Auto, bad example. You know,
Yeah.
it is literally a free roam world. Do whatever you want, kill whoever
it's
you want.
fucking sweet.
Why not? But I think the thing that you got to remember is if you just look at the demographic, like you look at a game like Grand Theft Auto compared to a game, I don't know, let's say a Lord of the Rings based game or something like that. You know, it's very, very different. Or maybe not Lord of the Rings, that's a little too far out of the way. But let's say, I don't know, Call of Duty. You got to look at the type of people that are playing the game. The type of people that are going to be playing Grand Theft Auto aren't necessarily the same type of people who are playing Call of Duty, because they're playing it for different reasons. You know, when I play a game, regardless of what it is, quite often I'm looking for the story. Whereas a lot of these people, you know, if I pick up I don't exactly know how to say it, but I'm more likely to pick up a game based on it having a good story because I'm after a story. Whereas if I'm a person who isn't really interested in stories, and I already have, you know, a desire to go out and, you know, maybe steal cars or you know, do these things.
It's like a little enabler. I can see
Yeah.
where someone might be coming from in terms of like that boosted them with maybe the confidence to actually go ahead and do that. But that's sort of a thing where I reckon you've already got that in you. It's only a matter of time, and you
Exactly.
can find it one way or another. You're either going to watch a film where someone steals a car, you're going to read a book where someone steals a car, you're going to see on the news that someone else stole a car. Like,
A better argument for that would be it's just a good place to blow off some steam.
Yeah,
Rather
exactly.
than turning people into these criminals, it's a place to blow off some steam.
It is like video games are essentially fairy tales, just to a slightly different degree and aimed at a slightly higher demographic who can disassociate what they're seeing in the game from real life. The only people who struggle to do this, the only people who are committing these crimes are the sort of people who would struggle to do this anyway, regardless of whether it's a game or a movie or they're seeing it on the news.
I wonder if there's been a massive increase, like, in crime in young people and the rise of video games, and if there is a correlation, like whether that be related or not, whether that just happens to be coincidental, like per capita, obviously, not accounting for the rise in population, but
The argument people make who believe video games are like cause violence in young people, like if they're not gonna, if they can't find the violence in video games, they're gonna find it in music, movies, and everyday life anyways. Even fucking ads.
Yeah, exactly. Like it is simply an avenue.
Yeah, their argument for it should also be against like fucking most rap songs and
Realistically,
genre
they
of
should
music.
be against anything that promotes that in any way promotes violence. So
Yeah.
like even things like sport archery.
yeah, exactly.
Archery is now a professional sport and that sort of thing. But once upon a time, it was a weapon designed to kill people.
okay. So just having a look, from Wikipedia to Forbes to
Wikipedia.
Forbes to the American Psychological Association, Oxford Criminology at Oxford, pretty much all just says they have found no link.
Yeah,
It's just like, oh, those pesky video games. Like, it's just such bullshit. Hey,
Exactly. There's no concrete
Pull your fucking
evidence
heads in.
from the foolish baby boomers who are looking for things to blame on their mistakes.
Yeah, such a good era of people, but they always just look for something to blame. Fucking pathetic, honestly.
Having said that, not all of them.
No, every
just
last
a large
baby
majority.
boomer is a cunt.
hand in your losts. Should we move on to children becoming more dependent on electronics?
Yeah, definitely
Or
should.
should we move on to the second beverage?
not even
Why
finished
not
my
we have
first.
both? Actually, yeah.
Because I started drinking my second glass of water and didn't finish that. Now I'm just fucking double parked myself. Do I pour them both into one cup and drink them both? I don't think
No.
so.
Definitely not.
Do I scull one and then just have the beer sitting on top of the water? It doesn't feel good.
Nah, it doesn't.
Skull
Just
of
forget
beer.
about the water and just drink the beer.
I'll scull the beer. Vorticky. Chill. No. No. Nobody liked that fob joke.
Kachu.
Oh my god. I'm gonna stop.
Froth City.
Philip, Mr. Incredible. You must be booking fast.
Skux doos.
How fast do you think you were going?
You must be booking.
You know my plate.
Don't give up. Make it close.
Bob.
It's time to intervene. I'm intervening.
Let's just watch The Incredibles. Let's put it.
I can quote the whole fucking thing, I reckon.
My god, you've gotten fat.
Horrible suit, darling. Horrible suit.
Knockouts.
Children becoming more dependent on electronics.
Straight up, I'm gonna say it. Everyone's becoming more dependent on electronics.
Yeah.
You can't just say kids have a problem because you're the one fucking handing them the phone.
You think your pacemaker isn't fucking hackable, you bitch? Let me tell you. Okay, so I just think this is something that the older generation has been saying forever. Like, our grandparents probably told our parents that they're spending too much time in front of the telly. And then our grandparents' parents probably said the same thing about the fucking radio. But I think what we're not taking into account when all this shit is being said is the fact that the human race is advancing at such a rate that, like, you need to advance with it or you fucking get left behind. Like, you pretty much can't get a job now unless you can use a phone. Like, your boss needs to be able to contact you or tell you when your shift is, or you need to be able to see your payslip or whatever.
You literally cannot have a life if you don't have an email address.
Yeah, like, in our case, fucking MyGov. Like, you want to do your tax return, you need some sort of, like, there's other options, but realistically,
you need like an interest, or at the very least, like a sense of comfortability when it comes to the electronic world. You're like, it's just a necessity in this day and age, and you see it every day. You know, when you get on the bus or that sort of thing, or any public transport, or out and about. People who aren't comfortable with technology struggle. People who are comfortable with it, the world's their oyster. They can do pretty much whatever they want, whenever they want, because it's at their fingertips.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I can see the fact that it's changing the way that we interact with people. Like, a big argument is the fact that, kids are losing their ability to interact socially. And I just think as long as we have schools and pubs and clubs, we'll never fully lose that ability to interact. It's just a way that we're advancing. Like, it's connecting us with people, and if that communication's happening differently, but it means you're learning more shit, who cares? And in terms of, like, not learning skills and relying on the internet, like, I just don't really see it as a thing. Like, jobs open up, right, in the digital sector, and we think, oh, fuck, everyone's just going to IT. But they probably said that how many fucking years ago about the mines and, like, the gold rush and shit. Like, jobs are closing up in the mines, jobs open up in the digital sector. It's like what happens throughout time with any craze. Like, at some point in time, probably a bunch of people were like, oh, fuck, we're going to have no more farmers, everyone's becoming a blacksmith. Oh, fuck, we're going to have no more miners, everyone's moving to IT. Like, no, we don't need it anymore, or as much anymore.
I will admit, like, there's still importance in some of the old world values. Like, it's still good to be able to do things with your hands, and it's good to be able to, get around and interact with, all sorts of different people and whatnot. But that doesn't mean that, embracing the new world is a bad thing.
And I kind of view, like, the internet as an enabler for that shit.
Oh,
like, if I don't know how to do something, I can YouTube it. I can look it up on Google. And then, instead of spending a day riding my bike to the library and then finding the right encyclopedia and then looking it up and then going and calling a professional and asking how and then paying some money for my time, I can Google it, find out in about 5 minutes how to fucking do it, get it done, and then I have that knowledge.
And it's not like people who, like, work in trades, like, the electronics is in that as well. Like, they're making tools now that they've got surveyors that'll fucking put a computer and a laser and it'll shoot, and you'll know exactly where your pipes will come up through a slab or where your fucking walls will start.
100%. Fucking, how tricky would shit have been before laser levels?
It makes...
Fucked.
Oh, fuck.
Fuck that.
Yeah, there's a point at which you say, okay, it's good to know how things can be done without, tech, but when we've got the option, why don't we use it?
Exactly.
I feel like it's only good to know that stuff so we know how this works, essentially.
Yeah.
But realistically...
It's good to know where you've come from.
It is, absolutely. So then we can sort of look at where we're going.
Yeah.
I think the fact is we generally need to be smart enough that we can interact and, use the point, the technology at the point that it's at. And, as people, we need to be able to see the thing that we're using in front of us and be able to look back and see the steps that it took to get to this.
Look, I'm all for if it ain't broken, don't fix it. But I'm also equally for the biggest hindrance to innovation is someone saying, this is the way we've always done it. Fuck that. Let's find a better way.
Yeah, it's like work smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, electronics, no matter what they are, like phones, computers, bloody tools for work, that they are just tools, modern day life. And everybody should be able to use them and know how to, like, operate one. They should know that it's not, you're not fucked without one. Like you can still, like if I go to work and the battery dies in my laser, I still know how to get the job done without it working.
Yeah.
And then I know I feel like I've attacked oldies a lot, and they're like, fuck, like you spend too much time on your phone or something. But like, did you guys not fucking catch planes heaps when they came, like when big commercial planes came out and stopped fucking taking boats across the world?
Yeah.
Like,
People spend a lot of time on their phone these days, but it's not like they're necessarily playing games.
yeah.
When I go on my phone, it's because my phone literally has my entire schedule for like the next 2 weeks. It can tell me what I'm doing, at 8:15, 3 days from now, who's meant to be there, who's not meant to be there, what tools are required,
Order materials.
exactly. Things like electronics, which, we should get back to children depending on electronics, but yeah, electronics these days aren't necessarily a leisure thing. They're literally a tool. Like, we're not doing it just to enjoy ourselves. We're doing it because it makes life for everyone easier.
I think, like, I understand that the topic is children becoming more dependent on electronics, but also this is leading on to why they need to be not dependent on, but able to use. And I think they're two very different things. And I think the dependency gets confused when people view the mobile phone as, say, an extension of ourselves. We're always checking it. Kids are checking it. And I kind of see, to be honest, electronics often used as just laziness by parents. Can't calm their kids down on their own, so let's chuck on a fucking video. It's easy.
Give them the iPad, fuck off and do what you want.
And look, as much as I'm against that, because I think, especially in that young age, not that I know a heap about this, but especially at that young age, like, I think it's important that they interact with the world. At the same time, I don't see the problem with them consuming the content on an iPad as opposed to a television if they're going to be watching it anyway.
Exactly.
And it's just portable. And if I'm in the shop and a kid's fucking screaming, give the kid the iPad.
I'll give him my fucking phone. I don't give a fuck.
Like, if it's going to shut you the fuck up, that's fine. Because what are they going to do? Like, the alternative is they just sit there screaming, or they put like a breadstick in their mouth. Like, doesn't really matter if they're consuming some content. If anything, that's kind of good for them. Don't you reckon?
I think the fact is, like, it's okay for children to use technology, and it's important for children to use technology, but it's not okay for adults to rely on technology to raise their children.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
But use it as a tool, by all means.
Yeah, it was good that Aiden brought it up and you elaborated on it, Harper, that like parents use it as a tool to fucking make their life easier. I feel like it'd be easier if it's a good tool for older parents, like parents having kids when they're like 30 years old, because I feel like young parents, like 16 through 20, don't have the energy and patience, and it's such a change of pace. Like, it's a different, your life changes when you have a kid, I'd assume. I don't know, but
well, I mean, you haven't met yours.
No. Fuck. And they still want to talk to, like,
that was funny.
Their friends and go out, and they're like, fuck, I just want to watch some Netflix. I'll just give the kid like fucking an iPad to watch something on. And that, I feel like that can distance and corrupt like a little kid's capability to form relationships with real people.
100%.
And then older parents aren't likely to do that as much because they're ready for it. That like, kids are what they want. It wasn't an accident, and they didn't feel like an abortion was wrong, so I'm keeping it.
See, I'm sort of like, I get what you mean, and then at the same time, I'm also like the opposite way. I'm like, if you're between, let's say you're mid-30s to mid-20s, in that, like, in my opinion, if you're going to become a parent, I reckon between 35 and 25, like, that's the ideal window. Not that that's, like, based on anything.
Far, like, mature enough, but also
young
far
enough.
away from your midlife crisis that you can make good decisions.
Well, yeah. Also, just the fact that you'll still have the patience to deal with them and still be able to like run around and have fun and play with your kids, but not to the point where you're feeling like you've missed out on some of your youth and you've missed out on partying and stuff. And I just feel like if you're older than that bracket, if you're like losing patience or you're losing energy or you're really struggling, then the electronics can be a useful tool.
Mm.
And so it works on both ends of that spectrum.
Brilliant thing for like single parents, I guess.
Virtual dad. We should make an app. Virtual dad. A virtual mum.
Leaves
It's good,
people as
Just has
well.
some, just has. What?
Leaves people as well.
Yeah, that'll just be the
All
black
right.
edition.
Hey, I'm just off to the shelves.
But
Virtual dad, like you know how all your apps shake
Yeah.
before you delete them, and it just deletes itself in front of you.
Sorry, TikTok, and it was
Just
like
out to get cigarettes. I'll be back in 10.
a text pops up on the screen. Are you sensing a pattern here? No one. It'll be like that
Once
Momo
wasn't
thing.
enough.
Yeah, it'll be like that Momo thing, and it'd come up like, "You will never be loved." Like, kill yourself. Nah,
Jesus,
I
this
saw-
got dark.
Sorry, TikTok, and it was like,
That's fucking
"Mum,
hilarious. Quick as
I
well.
won the lottery," and it was like my dad coming back from the shop with milk, like just walked in like 8 years later.
I've seen that one.
Oh.
Virtual mum, but it just has like tits just spurt milk at the screen.
Oh, there was a good video on Facebook, and it was this guy pretending to be the mum, and he's in the driver's seat and supposedly pretending that there's her two sons in the back and they're fighting. He's like, "Stop fucking around and hitting each other now!" And then he's driving, and he just starts like doing this fucking like you're slapping the back of a horse's ass while you're riding it, sort of thing, like to hit their knees in the back. Because every mum does that, I'm sure of it. And then she puts his hands back on the wheel and just goes, and just starts weeping. Fuck, did anybody else's mum do that?
What? Cry
Just,
behind
yeah,
the wheel?
just randomly weep in front of
No, just like start tear up after she like belt the shit out of you for being so annoying.
I was, believe it or not, an angel of a child. I never had that.
Sorry, mum. God, I remember
my
it a few
parents
times.
just beat it out of the other kids before they got to
they,
me. So
they
I was
didn't
able
actually care by you. 'Cause
yeah, by the time they got to me, they were like, they'll work it out.
I reckon the easiest thing you'd do as a mum is you'd speed up if kids were fucking around the back and they'd just jam on the brakes. All right, kids, unclip.
No, because eventually they did. Like they, the first time might get them, but after that they'd be like, "Yeah, cool. Let's really roll mum up and see how fast we can get her going." I know I'd do that.
You
I'm
just
so
roll
sorry,
the car.
Cal.
Yeah, your mum's real stubborn and she just rolls the car. That'll fucking teach us.
Whoa! Wow! Tantrum!
Oh, that's good.
Like the How About Your Mother thing where they take tantrum and they like rip a phone book and shit. Yeah. Tantrum! I'm gonna do push-ups in the kitchen.
So
Quality.
I reckon that pretty much concludes our 3 topics. And I just got
It was a good little rant today. We got.
That's
I feel like we
good.
got some good,
Definitely a bit of
some
talking
good
going on,
stuff
yes.
out. Yeah.
So I was just scrolling through Facebook, and I realised I've been doing it for a fair bit now, like a couple months. And so I've pretty much found a new hobby, and it's scrolling through shit posting pages on Facebook.
Yep, love
And
it. Me too.
like mainly their posts. Like I've fucked myself on Facebook. My Facebook used to be awesome to go through, like so many shit posting pages and really shitty meme pages. I feel like I'm losing my
Your
like-
edge.
yeah, my edge. Like I can't make jokes anymore because all I see on Facebook are just shit fucking things that you might look at and you go, I can see how someone thinks this is funny, or I might look and go, that's pretty good. And keep
That's the
scrolling,
best possible reaction. Just
So rare do you fuse something on your phone and actually laugh out loud.
Yeah.
yeah.
But now I'm just going through the comments on these shit posting pages posts and just admiring how attractive the people are that comment on it.
Really?
Like just going on their profiles, going through their profile picture and going,
Do you mind naming a few profiles? Because I just like going through the comments on the World Through the Eyes of a Man Called Ken. And like, to see one of his most recent ones was, it's come to my attention that someone has sworn on one of my posts I would not be posting till they apologise.
apologise. Yeah. Here's one that just came up of the World Through the Eyes of a Man Called Ken. Lady at Baptist Care asked if I like Grease. I told her I did. She asked what my favourite songs were. I told her I didn't know any songs about Grease, but I liked the feeling of it in my hair after a long day in the garden. I've tried to contact my son in prison for the first time since he went back in. He does not want to speak to me. Mohammed is away with family for a weekend in his homeland, Penrith. Cater,
good.
Paul, taking me to KFC tomorrow as they have commented on my status the other day, and I wish to thank them. Signed, Ken. Beautiful. Here, I'll just go. So I found a shitposting page already. Oi nah. They've posted, oi nah, there's only 2 genders, brothers and brovettes. And I'll go through the comments and I'll find one. This girl is called Phoenix Henar. And
Yeah, right. Wow.
she's attractive. I don't think ugly people comment on things.
I didn't think that attractive people would follow the shit posting pages like us.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think so, would
You
you?
think they'd have better things to do with themselves? Kane Zulian. Sorry, Kane.
That example there, champion.
We'll get next time. See? That was a shit joke because that's on my Facebook feed.
You know what's quality humour?
What's that?
There's a scene in Despicable Me where the girls are trying to get Gru to read them a bedtime story, and one of them's like, "Oh, like pretty please." He's like, "The physical appearance of the please did not make any difference." Like, I can't quite do his voice, but I thought it was hilarious. I reckon that's the best. Despicable Me is a quality film.
Oh, it's
Anyone who
great.
disagrees,
Gorals. Dustin Van Milt. He looks like he has a fun life
He does, 'cause
He's
he's
on
on a
a-
boat.
with a wetsuit. He looks really tall.
Wait, Josh, does this count as annoying?
Damn. Here's a good shit post. It's Venom sitting next to Spider-Man going, psst, passing him a note. It says, it's physically impossible to pronounce the words I, Laws, Doug, and Aim in sequence. I lost the game. Fuck, I lost the game, guys.
that's terrible.
How good.
That's despicable. And now we have to post it to the chat because it's the rules.
Should we wrap up this podcast, guys? Thank you very much. That's been episode 17.
17. Fuck, we're closing it on 20.
To be honest, I'm actually really wrapped. To be honest, look, we've been stuck on 351 followers ish, give or take, for the last probably month.
Yeah.
Mostly due to inactivity, just people having busy lives. But I'm so keen. I really want to get this pie shoot happening. Really want to get some videos happening. Actually make shit happen.
Yeah. If anybody listens to this, I was going to bring this up after we ended this podcast to you two, but I feel like you both be on board, so I'm just going to put it in now. I can always cut it later, but I probably won't.
I'm in.
I'm going to put a post on our Instagram, and for every 10 likes, we're us three collectively, like every 10 likes that post gets, we're going to donate $1 to farmers for water and shit. I reckon that'd be awesome.
Fuck it, make
On
it
us.
$1 a like. Up it. Do it, cunt. Fuck
No,
yeah.
I can't do that. Free hot dogs. No drinks. No drinks.
Can't do drinks.
Actually, you're right. They can get wild. Okay, no, but for every 10 likes.
Every 10 likes, we will donate $1 to farmers in need because we're having a real hard time. They're having a real hard time with droughts at the moment.
100%. And look, I blame the government for not bringing the rain.
I'm going to say it now. This summer's going to be a big one. Like,
Oh.
I honestly expect there will be water restrictions in Canberra or in the ACT soon, purely so they can pump.
We haven't had them in years.
No, we haven't.
I remember
but
having
reckon
one when I was like 6.
Yeah,
maybe.
I
reckon
remember when we were younger, but not,
New South
not
Wales is
since,
going to
like,
need it
2010
soon
at least.
enough.
I remember
So
Dad's...
they're going to put us on water restrictions, give like a lot of the water we have to New South Wales, which
Plus,
isn't
there's
much.
going to be bushfires.
And
It's gonna be a tough time.
our reservoirs are at like 50% anyway. So unless we get a lot of rain this summer, which isn't looking likely, things are going to be tough over the next couple of years.
I don't
Think
mind a
we're
bit of
going to
salt water.
toilet. Yeah.
Yeah. Where the water there is good.
In bottles.
Can't wait to fill up on that. I'm scared to have ice in my drinks now from there.
Don't worry. Don't worry about it. We get the ice
Don't
comes
worry.
the ice comes in bags, mate. It's fine. Dude, I went there.
I like bags.
Okay.
Do you like fucking death?
That gives me a
Yes.
boner.
Do you like barley belly? Because same.
No, seriously, that post, 100%. Get stuff happening.
God, what a waste of time that was.
This is quality. This is quality content. What the fuck, Ollie?
What the fuck?
All right. Episode 17. Guys, thanks for listening. Do we get listeners anymore? I don't actually
I don't know. We're going to check after this.
I'm worried that we're down to just me.
Yeah, true.
It is just us. We're the only ones.
We're going to head out.
Shit post.
Well, Central.
See ya.
Bye.
That was a Titancast episode.